Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel for everything Arsenal and everything football. Thanks for being here. I hope you're all doing well. And welcome to the match reaction and player ratings for Arsenal's very boring nil-nil draw with Crystal Palace. A clean sheet, yes, that's a few in a row now, but we didn't manage to score a goal this today. And I have a couple of guests with me. Ray, how are you?
I'm good, Glenn. Yeah, I've thankfully woken myself up for the show.
Thank you for that. HJ, how are you? Your mic is muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, I'm all right. But that performance, it wasn't exciting like the previous games have been, especially that last game against West Brom. But yeah, we keep going. At least we didn't lose. Good consolation, I suppose.
Yeah. And WSL, how are you?
I mean, other than wasting 94 minutes of my life, I'm pretty good.
Believe me, you think you wasted 94 minutes. I was just telling WSL and Dre how I was writing the notes for the game and I literally wrote like only 5 the entire game. Like a game of 90 minutes, I only managed to write 5 things from the game because literally nothing happened. So let's get to the match reaction. The first 20 minutes for the match reaction, then the next 30 for the player ratings. So we'll start with the lineup. Ray, I'll start with you. A couple of surprises in the lineup. What did you make of the lineup? Put it on screen right now.
Yeah, I was quite disappointed with Tierney being left out, and I had a feeling, an inkling he would, simply because in the Newcastle game he played all 120 minutes and he hasn't been fit for too long, so I could understand the reasoning, but I was quite disappointed in the fact that he played that whole game and he's been our most informed player. David Luiz, well, I already heard about Pablo Mari, so I wasn't too surprised that David Luiz stepped in. So, with the lineup, I'd give it probably a 7 out of 10 from the beginning. Most important thing for me was attacking the game the right way with the intensity, which we didn't do. And the moment Palace settled into their rhythm, it was hard to break them down. So, yeah.
Yeah, HJ, were you sad that Partey didn't start, or were you okay with him starting on the bench?
I was okay. I didn't want Arteta to rush him back because remember what happened against Tottenham? He rushed him back and then he literally just had to limp off the pitch and we conceded. With Mari and Tierney, I was disappointed because those two have been really, really good. Two of our best players, along with Saka, in the last 2 weeks, which is why we've done so well. And losing Oneni as well, I'm not sure what happened there. That sort of ruined our rhythm, if you like. That kind of affected us as well. So I think Arteta has learned from his mistakes to not rush people back because obviously Tierney and Mari have been such good players for us. And if we risk them, they got an injury. We're all saying to Arteta, "Oh, why did they start?" And both players, I think, played 120 minutes versus Newcastle. So I guess it was a good thing, but it just shows how important someone like Tierney is for the creativity of this team. And we really missed him today. But why couldn't he not be on the bench at least is something I'm thinking about. But yeah, David Luiz, and when he's not starting, I think he does a bit better than Xhaka. But I'm happy to see Smith Rowe, Saka, Aubameyang, Lacazette start together.
Yeah, and WSL, which player were you excited most to see today?
Probably Aubameyang. I mean, a lot of people have tried to tell me that with Aubameyang scoring against Newcastle, he was going to finally kick on. So I was excited to see what he could bring today. I was also excited to see Maitland-Niles. I mean, I love Tierney, but if Tierney wasn't going to play, Maitland-Niles was the only other option for me. So I was excited to see what he could bring. But I mean, yeah, I kind of feel Tierney should have at least been on the bench. I was quite surprised Mari wasn't there and El Neni, but I mean, at least Willian wasn't starting. I guess that's the only real positive.
Yeah, so that was the lineup. For me, I wanted Partey on the bench just like HJ. I wanted Partey on the bench. I didn't want him to start, but that Tierney one was really damaging. Like that left side does not look good without him. Plus up front, I was okay with it. Obviously, Smith Rowe and Saka, we all okay with that. But yeah, it did not show in the game. So let's get into the first half. I'll start with you, Ray. In the first half, the first 10 minutes, what I wrote in the first 10 minutes was Niles, 2 misplaced passes, and he also had a very poor cross. If it was Tierney, we all know that would have been a magnificent cross. So in the first 10 minutes, he was looking very bad. What do you make of him in those first 10 minutes?
Yeah, about the cross, he is right-footed, so I'll give him a bit of leeway there. It's not his strong foot, but
yeah,
I mean, he hasn't really started any games, isn't it? So I expected him to be slightly rusty. So I can't put too much blame on Maitland-Niles in regards to the performance. He lacks confidence, but yeah, in the first 10 minutes, I think it was just a lack of intensity from everyone really, and that's what I was most worried about. So yeah, I mean, I can't put too much blame on him, but that cross short should have been better, but he is right-footed, so I cut him a little bit of slack.
Yeah, SJ, two misplaced passes though with his right foot. Ray says his left foot is not that good, but he misplaced 2 passes with his right foot.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because I think one of the reasons we kept Maitland-Niles is that he could cover for the left back position because we were going to get rid of Sead Kolasinac. Ainsley looked really poor. I'm sorry, but I rate Ainsley, but today he looked really shaky, and it just shows even more how much we miss Tierney because he brings that creativity, but he brings that defensive reassurance. A lot of times he was also out of position. Obviously, said the 2 misplaced passes. It didn't go well for Ainsley at all. And when he came off, we still looked a bit shaky down that left-hand side because we were playing without an orthodox left back. It was almost like Xhaka and Saka were covering both for him, but they were like switching positions. So maybe, just maybe, we might have to look at a backup left back for Tierney.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to think of the same because last time I've talked to you and Nathaniel over on Causes, and you've mentioned it so many times that Niles is better than Bellerin, which I can say it's okay, but I always see him making so many mistakes, and I still don't think he's better than Bellerin. I think they're on the same level. He's better defensively, but going forward, I don't think he's that good going forward. So
yeah,
but that's me. How about you, WSL?
I mean, I think it just kind of shows how poor our squad depth really is. We lose one player, and we think we have at least 1 or 2 good players to replace him, and they don't perform. I mean, it shows for every position. I mean, right wing, if we lose Saka, the only other option really is Pepe or Willian, and both players aren't performing. So it kind of just shows that we really need to spend money, not just in January, but I think as a whole. We need to just buy more players. We need to get rid of certain players. And I think we need to start looking at the youth. Because if we aren't going to spend a lot of money, we've got to look in the youth academy and say who here can actually perform on a regular basis. Because a lot of our fringe players, players like Maitland-Niles, they just aren't performing right now. And we can't keep, wasting time on them.
That there are so many quick players, that was very worrying. And then let's move forward to the 22nd minute. Xhaka tackle on Zaha. Zaha was about to score. Probably one of the few things that Xhaka did that were good in that game. Ray, you remember anything about it? Zaha was about to cut in and shoot, and Xhaka had a very good block on him.
It was brilliant. It was a brilliant block because Zaha did his typical. I mean, Zaha on the ball is quite fantastic because he has the confidence to take players on. The moment he got into that space, of course, I'm worried for the worst. But Xhaka did exactly what you need to do. He tracked the open space and made a fantastic block. Overall, I actually thought Xhaka did all right as CDM to break up the play and look after Zaha as much as he can. But it's very difficult to contain Zaha. But the block itself, I thought, was phenomenal. Because for me, it's going in because he was just so close to the goal, wasn't he?
Yeah, true. I agree with you. WSL, when Xhaka made that block, were you getting like memories of the likes of Gattuso and Zanetti? Are you thinking Xhaka has reached that level?
I wouldn't even put Xhaka in the same bracket, but what I will say is what I've been wishing a lot from especially players like Xhaka, like the kind of players who are quite rough and physical, is that they just put more tackles in. We lack just a player who's just going to put a tackle in, which is why I think we brought in Partey. But to be fair, Xhaka did quite a good job today in doing that. He kind of just kept his head down, didn't try anything special, and just did the basics, put a few tackles in, a few good blocks. I definitely don't blame him for this performance. I think he was one of the better players, which kind of says everything. But yeah, the block was good. It stopped a goal, so all you can really do is praise the player for blocking the goal. But yeah, Xhaka was pretty good in the first few minutes.
History?
I'm very split on Xhaka. I thought his tackling, his interception was excellent today, and just for that, I'd say he's one of the best players, especially in the first half. But you look on the other side of it, his passing was poor. He was playing those long diagonal ones at the wrong times when he was supposed to play them. He wasn't playing them, and that frustrated me. He was playing backwards, sideways. The passing, he kept giving it away. So on one hand, his tackling interception was brilliant, but then his other side, the passing, the giving away the ball, that wasn't good at all. And I'm kind of split on Xhaka.
Okay,
No.
Ray, a few minutes later, Xhaka gives away a dangerous free kick. Eze's on it. Are you thinking this is it? It's a goal?
Yeah, I thought the decision to give the foul was ridiculous because Zaha, for once, didn't actually moan, isn't it? The arm got slightly dragged back, but it didn't stop the momentum of the pass. The moment the free kick came, I was like, ugh. Effing and blinding, obviously, but then when it goes over, it's fine. But I mean, on Xhaka, usually I scapegoat him as well because I think he's not a very good player. But today, I can't really. I think like the guys, I think he performed well overall. He did his CDM job very well, didn't he?
We'll come to that later. We'll come to that later. Let's just talk about the free kick first. HJ, the free kick. Were you scared?
Yeah, definitely. He's a good taker, Eze, and we could have easily conceded, but again, we got away with it. So yeah.
I know Ray says it was soft, but why give the referee an opportunity? WSL, what do you make of it?
I mean, I appreciate Xhaka for trying to stop the play and to try and slow Palace down, but this is why, for me, he's just not a good enough player. He's going to do these stupid things every now and then where he brings a player down when he doesn't need to, or he does something a little too rash. Like we've seen it against Burnley when he tried to choke someone. Like, it's just not needed. It's an overreaction. It's something stupid. And like you said, it could have easily given away a goal. I'd have been a lot more scared if Milivojevic was over it because he's a much more dangerous free kick taker. So I did I thought it was a little weird that Eze was over it, but he's still a great free kick taker. So I was definitely worried. But yeah, I think on Xhaka's part, and I think like HJ said, it's split. It's a split opinion. He does something really good or something really stupid, and it just ruins what he does. Really, it ruins him as a player, I think.
Yeah, so Ray didn't get any better. We were under pressure, a lot of pressure after that. Again, we gave away another free kick again. This time, Xhaka stepped on him. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah.
This time, Xhaka stepped on him.
I'm not blind, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the free kick goes to Tompkins and it hits the bar.
I mean, sometimes... Sorry, you're asking me, yeah? Yeah. Sometimes you just can't defend a ball. I thought the ball in was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. It was one of those cut through swerve kind of crosses in. And Tompkins put the header, and honestly, we got away with it, to be honest.
Yes, Shay?
For what? For the free kick?
The free kick. Yeah, the second on the Tompkins hit the bar with you.
It's, again, I don't have much of an opinion on free kicks because it's either, the player does really well and gets into the top corner, and then you can't, then it's basically, you look back at why Xhaka was being so stupid or why the player was being so stupid. That's basically you have to look at. I said Xhaka's tackling is really good, but sometimes at the odd occasion it can be rash, and that's something like his discipline. That's something he needs to control better in the future.
Yeah, I don't know if Ray is getting the trend. 2 fouls from Xhaka already. WSL, the free kick dangerous to give it away there?
I mean, any free kick in the in that kind of area is going to be dangerous, especially with Palace because they have got some really good free kick takers. I think with the header, the Tompkins header, I think Holding should have done a lot better with the header. Holding for me has this like thing about him where he kind of wimps out of a header, like he'll go for it but then not go high enough, or he'll kind of let the other player win it. And I think sometimes it's too dangerous. Like there, I think the way I saw it, he didn't jump high enough. Like as a defender, the free kick's coming in. Tompkins is a very dangerous player because he's really tall. And we must have had about 2 or 3 players on him. He's still able to find the header and almost score. But I think the initial foul, the standing on the foot, I actually initially shouted saying that Zaha was diving until the replay in which, it was so blatant. Like, again, this is the thing with Xhaka. He didn't need to tackle Zaha in that position because we had virtually every player marked. So, he just stands on his foot. Like, I don't think it was intentional, but it was stupid. And he definitely needs more discipline. Otherwise, he's just going to get another red card sooner or later.
Yeah, and Ray, it got even worse. Xhaka gave away the ball, and they drove to the left side, and they put in a cross, and Benteke, let me tell you something with Benteke. No disrespect to him, but when he has the ball in his feet, apart from today a couple of times, he's literally a bit useless. But when you give it to him, in the air, you're in big trouble. So he got a good cross and he headed the ball, and Leno with a very good save, right?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm not a Xhaka fanboy at all. I think he's a really poor player. In fact, today was one of his best performances, and that's not saying a lot because he hasn't got a lot of good performances. In regards to Benteke, I agree. I mean, the Aston Villa Benteke was a beast. He was amazing. He did so well, and the Crystal Palace one is just a shell of a man. But I agree with you. Xhaka lost the ball stupidly, but then Palace did pretty well to make space. Good ball. Good header, and I must say it was a very good save. Not because he got the save necessarily, but he tipped it into the right area, which was on the side. You know, he didn't put it back into play. So the moment that ball came in, I thought goal, because Benteke in the air is phenomenal. But it was a very good save. Very good save. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's also a time that Niles almost scored an own goal. He was giving the ball back to the goalkeeper. I don't know if you saw it, HJ.
Yeah, I saw that one. Again, it's just I think it's his lack of experience down that left hand side. He just lacked in concentration. Sometimes these things happen, but I think we need to play him on that left hand side, in replacement of Tierney in some backup games, like just to give him more experience down that left hand side. Maybe even play him left back in the under 23s, just to give him experience of that left back position, because I think he needs that. And maybe work on his crossing more. But the Leno save as well. Again, Leno's really saved us in the last few games. In the Newcastle game, he saved us from going out because of that triple save he made. But we got very lucky in that game, and we got lucky today because that could have easily been 1-0 Crystal Palace.
I mean, WSL HJ says it's because he was in the left side. I mean, that's just a normal pass. Whether you're in the touchline, whether you're the goalkeeper, that's a simple pass.
I might be making excuses, but I don't know. I'm just giving a reason, but still, it's inexcusable.
Yeah. WSL, what do you make of it?
I mean, again, like HJ said, it was definitely a lack of concentration. I mean, we saw West Brom do this, where the player goes to pass back and it just rolls in the net. At the end of the day, the communication needs to be better. Maitland-Niles, he wants to play centre midfield. We know this. But for me, there's so many better midfielders that we have, whether they're on loan or in the club now. So for me, he's never going to be a centre midfielder. So that he needs to look at it and say, the only positions that I can play are right back and left back. And right now, Bellerin's performing well. So left back's my only other option. So I'm not really hearing this lack of experience, because he should be, spending time with the coaches to get better on the left side. Because, I mean, look at Saka. He started off as a right winger, moved to the left, and then moved back to the right. He's so versatile. So a player like Maitland-Niles needs to be the same. But yeah, it's just a lack of concentration. And I mean, I think he will get better the more he plays on the left side. I definitely don't think he's going to be that bad every time he plays there. But yeah, it was a disappointing performance all around for Maitland-Niles.
He reminds me of Oxlade-Chamberlain, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, with the situation, wants to play midfield, has to settle for these positions, and he isn't the worst, but he isn't the best. And he's more of a versatile player more than anything.
If I can add to that, and also he was really playing left wing back, and that's a very different position to left back as well, because you have more license to be offensively expressive.
Crossing is poor though.
And
there was a cross in the first half where Jesus, it just went straight out.
That's it. But if I can add to that, but he played in the FA Cup final and semi-final, didn't he? Maitland-Niles, and played extremely well.
I think there were different types of games though. There were different types of games, because if you remember, we played Man City, their possession-based team, and we're playing a counter-attacking game.
But also, his position was left wing back, not left back. So he had more license to be more offensive.
That is true. However, Arteta said it himself. He wants to play at the 4 at the back. So Maitland-Niles.
Oh, of course. No, of course. But he has to
adapt.
Option. I agree. But for me, the poor pass was literally based on him just lacking focus. I don't think there's an excuse, to be honest with you.
I can't wait to see what you guys will give him in the player ratings. That's actually what I'm waiting for. So, Ray, halftime, would you have made any subs?
Yeah, straight away. I would have actually probably made the change that was made. Straight at halftime, I would have put Maitland-Niles off, put Saka at left back. Saka's, for me, our best player overall. I honestly think he's our best player. And I would have put Pepe on the right.
Yeah. Okay, HJ?
At halftime, I think I would have brought Partey on because I think it was necessary. I would have also taken Ainsley Maitland-Niles off to put Pepe on that Ainsley for Pepe substitution. I would have done that earlier because someone like Pepe, I know again I'm giving excuses, but someone like Pepe takes his time to get into the game and then has his moments. So I think I would have made those two substitutions much earlier at halftime, and I think it could have made a bit more difference in the game.
Yeah, Pepe, just like Willian, they're very young. They need time to adapt to English football. They are 19 years of age. They need time to adapt to the game.
Don't
That's
compare
okay.
them, Jesus.
It's okay. It's okay, HJ. It's okay. WSL, any changes at halftime?
I mean, I'd have loved to have brought Tierney on, but I mean, he wasn't on the bench. But yeah, I can't agree with Pepe coming on right now. Pepe was so poor against Newcastle, and this Crystal Palace team was better than that Newcastle team. So for me, if you want to make a difference, you don't bring Pepe on. For me, I'd actually brought Partey on in the 45th minute. I'd have taken Xhaka off because I thought Ceballos was actually quite good today. Partey, as soon as he did come on, he was much better, and he kind of solidified the midfield. But we didn't have anything on the bench that would increase our creativity up front because we didn't have a Tierney, we didn't have anyone like a Bellerin who can come in and score. So I kind of feel like we just left ourselves a bit exposed where if the attack didn't work, which it didn't, there was nothing we could do about it. And it obviously showed because we came out with a 0-0 draw.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still laughing at HJ's comment and just thinking about it. He needs time to come on earlier to get himself into the game. So if the plan was in the 60th minute,
it's true though with Pepe.
You bring him in the 40th minute.
It's based on evidence over the last year and a half. He always does this. He takes his time to build into the game, and I think Arteta, if you made that substitution earlier, we could have seen more from Pepe.
Yeah, Ray. What I noticed also in the first half was the corners. I had the comment to the Sky Sports commentator saying, "Yeah." What did you make of these corners? Are you a fan of this kind of tactics in corner kicks, or you just do the usual, don't do all this stuff?
To be honest with you, I was more worried about Saka's delivery because I must say before today, his delivery.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Shocking.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Shocking. He never usually gets it past the first man. I was like, Jesus. But I must say, he whipped some really nice ones in today. Like, his delivery from the set pieces overall was really good. Regarding where the players are situated, I don't care as long as they're in a position where they can attack the ball. So overall, the position for the corners was decent enough, but I don't like outswingers where they go outside the 6-yard box because then it's very hard for defenders to generate the power. So he put one in for holding, I think somewhere around the second half, which was a difficult corner. But otherwise, overall, I thought his set pieces were very good.
I mean, you've just taken my 2 points out of my mouth. I probably should have gone first. But I just wanted really to say that because from those corners, if you have an in-swinging corner from Maddison, all these ones are goals. Because the way Saka takes them, it's kind of also slow. Like, it's like stays too much in the air. Like, if it was Maddison, all these corners would have been a threat. What did you make of WSL, the corners? And we always get like 10 corners per game, but never use them.
I think... I hate to be quite negative, but I think our set piece coach needs to take a step back and see what he's actually doing. I think our corners have been some of the worst in the Premier League. I don't understand. Like whenever Willian's on the pitch, he's always the corner taker, and we know how poor his corners are. Sorry, they never even get past the first man. Where with Saka, he is learning. I think he's getting better at corners. So for me, he has to be the main corner taker from now on. But again, with all the players in the 6-yard box, like how they were grouped up in that photo, I really don't understand what we can do with that. Because the goalkeeper's just going to come out and catch the ball, or one of their tall centre-backs is just going to head it away. So for me, a perfect crossing scenario for us would be to pass it out to the D, where Bellerin was, and just to try and have a long shot, because we have some players who can take long shots. Like we have Partey and Aubameyang. So I think we need to utilise what we actually have, which isn't strong headers of the ball, but we have really good finishers. So I think we need to be looking at that for crosses more than we need to be looking at trying to, head the ball in.
Yeah, I agree with you. So in the second half, SJ, any particular subs like during the around the 60th minute you wanted to be made? Anyone you wanted to come off?
I think the substitutions Arteta made I was fine with.
Yeah.
But I think, as I said earlier, they should have been made earlier, at half time to change the game a bit more, and then maybe because Eddie Nketiah was our only option, maybe bring him on. If you want to bring a Willian on, even though I don't rate either of those players, maybe you could have, but we didn't have much on the bench. And I said this before the transfer window, and we have to spend some money. We have to invest because we lack depth in our squad in terms of trying to have match winners on the bench, which we don't at the moment. Yeah, we need to. I think Arteta needs to be backed at the moment because if he's going to stay, you need to give him the money. And so far in this window, we're not doing it. And I think that's one of the reasons he couldn't have many options from the bench.
Yeah, so let's get into the player ratings now. It's already very late. Thank you for these people who always have these Arsenal games at such bad times this season.
Exactly, man.
I don't know why they
We
always
have Monday
do us, man.
8 o'clock as well.
Yeah, it's so many terrible times. But yeah, let's get into the player ratings. I'll start with you, AJ. Leno is the first one.
He saved us the game today with some of his saves. He didn't have loads to do. Crystal Palace weren't attacking today. That much attacking. Yeah. They tried sitting back, tried playing. They're almost like they're trying to play for the 0-0. And if they can, they're going to try and score. But for Leno, I'll give him a 7. I thought if it wasn't for him in some instances, we could have easily lost this game. So 7 for Leno.
WSL, is he being too harsh? Clean sheet, a couple of good saves?
What I will say with Leno is a lot of people, like fans around the Premier League, are giving goalkeepers like Mendy from Chelsea and Darlow from Newcastle a lot of praise for keeping clean sheets. Leno has kept loads of clean sheets recently. He's also saved us from the last 2 games. Without his save today and the save against Newcastle, we would have lost those games. Yeah. And some people still don't even put him in the top 5 goalkeepers in the league. So I think Leno, for me, is easily one of the most underrated and least spoken about goalkeepers. I mean, again, he kept a clean sheet, which is what matters. You know, with Emery, we could barely keep a clean sheet. So we're at least improving on that front. But yeah, you can't blame a goalkeeper for not scoring in a game. So the fact that he kept a clean sheet and he made that really good save, I'd give him an 8.
Thank you for bringing up Emery again. Now I'm all fed up again. Ray? Leno?
Yeah, I'd give Leno an 8 pretty easily. Didn't have too much to do, but when top keepers are not busy and then they have to make a save, Leno did precisely that. That's what the top keepers do. The ones that aren't busy, but when they're called into action, they perform, and that's what Leno did. So for me, an 8. Distribution was fine, solid on the ball. So yeah, 8.
Good. 8. HJ said 7. The next one, HJ Bellerin.
Bellerin. He got into some of the attacking areas. I don't think he made much of it. That's just it's just one of them. I'll give him a 4. I think. I think he could have made more of some of his opportunities. And I think sometimes when Crystal Palace were on the attack, both Ainsley and Bellerin were both exposed. They were both exposed.
Wow. Okay.
Did he not reply to your email? Yeah.
WSL.
He was probably too busy planting trees.
Bellerin, I agree with him though. There's a couple of times he got forward, the ball ricocheted off him. And then he cuts back to his left foot when he's supposed to like drive in with the right. What did you make of him?
A bit negative at times, I think.
I said at the beginning one player is going to get a really low rating, and it's Bellerin. I thought he was absolutely awful today. He gets a 2. He gets a 2. The reason why Bellerin gets a 2 is because, especially in the second half, there was about 3 or 4 times where Bellerin went to pass to Pepe when Pepe had about 3 Palace defenders on him. So it makes Pepe look worse than he is because he's getting bombarded with players and he's getting the ball when he doesn't want it. There was about 3 or 4 passes that were just awful. It's like I don't even know where he's trying to put them to. He made no good runs, let's be honest. Nothing really came out of his runs. Like you said, he cut in and he didn't really do anything with them. And I think defensively he was poor. There was a cross that went into the box in the first half and he like fairy skipped to try and block it and it didn't really do anything. But yeah, Bellerin, he's had a good few like recent performances, but he just isn't good enough to start every single game for Arsenal. So he still needs to be replaced for me. But yeah, he gets a 2 today.
Wow, that's an average of 3 so far. So Ray, I mean, are they being too harsh? I mean, the first thing I saw on Twitter the moment the squads were announced was Zaha and Eze are going to rip him to shreds, but they didn't. What did you make of Bellerin?
So for me, the defender's first responsibility is to obviously defend and be as solid as they possibly can at the back. But before I go into my rating, I don't know what's happened to Bellerin's pace. I mean, I tweeted about
It's
this.
just after that injury, after that big injury he had.
He used to be, I know, but he used to be rapid, but now he's like a 17.
Yeah.
If you look at FIFA ratings, he's so slow. And on the ball, his distribution has got so bad. It's taken him forever to get back to some kind of inkling of pace and ability. But I'll give him a 6. And I'll give him a 6 because he was solid enough at the back, considering who he was playing against. Zaha and Eze very rarely got burnt. He got burnt a couple of times because they're talented players, but he was not worse off than half of the other players. So I think 6 is fair. But in the attacking positions, I agree with the guys. He just gives me no faith that he'll actually have any kind of end product, and he's never been a good crosser of the ball. So if we don't buy anyone, I'd actually like us to give Ainsley a run at right back for a little while and see if we could do anything better. Bellerin for me is not the long-term future of Arsenal. He should be at best backup if we're even going to challenge for the Champions League, let alone go above that in the coming years.
I'm also going to go with the 5. I'm going to go in between you guys because I agree with both sides, HJ and WSL, because going forward, how many times he gave away the ball? There's so many times he had a chance to go forward and just cross the ball. He gives it back to Holding again and then gives it back to Xhaka, loses the ball all the time. But defensively, as you said again, he kind of did good. Like Zhao was not like literally like ripping him off. Like I don't think so. So probably a 5. I usually don't take ratings of Bellerin from that guy, Relentless Football Talk, and from HJ90 because they're not fans of Bellerin. So I'm going to give him a 5 for today. The next one is David Louise. HJ.
I think with the game went, we didn't get to see a lot of the centre backs, if you know what I mean. But from David Luiz, I thought some of his passing that he was doing so well against Newcastle, it just wasn't coming off. He wasn't doing it often enough. And I think that's why Aubameyang at times got isolated on that left-hand side, couldn't do as much as he could, making those run-ins in field. Maybe that's got to do with the fact he was playing on their left and not down the middle. But I didn't see enough from David Luiz today. But obviously as a defender, he didn't have loads to do, but what he did, some of his defensive clearances were all right. I'll give him a 5.
A 5. WSL, are you surprised you started?
No, I was actually happy Louise started. I think Louise for me is easily our second, probably second best centre back overall. I think Louise offers that little bit extra in attack. I mean, I agree today his passes weren't coming off, but we all know he's better in a free at the back, or he's better as the right centre back, and today was left centre back. But what I will say is with Louise, he didn't actually attempt many long passes today, and I'm beginning to think this is actually Arteta. Because there was a few times when Louise was looking for a pass and he looked over towards Arteta and he kind of didn't, like he stopped doing what he was doing. So I'm beginning to think that Arteta's telling him not to do these long passes. I might be wrong, but it's what I'm seeing on the pitch. But yeah, I think he and again, he didn't really have much to do. A lot of the Crystal Palace attack came down Eze, who was on the left. All right. And I mean, I think he was actually all right. I mean, again, I don't get why people hate Louise. I think it's because he was an ex-Chelsea player, but I really like Louise. And I'll give him a 7 today.
7, okay. Ray, Louise, do you agree with what they've said on Louise?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat as WSL. I think he was quite fortunate that he was left centre back today because, all the attacks came on Crystal Palace's left side, so he didn't have too much to deal with defensively. I don't think his distribution of the ball was that great, but I think a lot of that is because he's been instructed not to do those long pingy passes anymore. I'll give him 7 as well because, again, when I look at my fullbacks and my centre halves, first job, keep clean sheet. You keep a clean sheet, that's the first job. So for me, he gets a 7. I don't trust the guy at all. I think he's a madman. He makes mistake after mistake because I think he's too arrogant in his own ability. He should probably be a centre mid by trade. But I thought today, he did a solid job. I was actually happy he started, considering Mari did have a tight hamstring. So I'll give him a 7. I think he did a solid job.
Yeah, I heard what you say, WSL. Is not that bad of a defender, but a couple of lapses here and there. And also that what he did today. There's a time I think he committed a foul, unnecessary foul, and a referee can easily give you a red card for that when they were both going for the ball in the air. But in the second half, he looked like our most attacking threat. The way he was drifting forward every now and then, he was doing very well. So I think I'd agree with the WSL and give him a 7. The next one, HJ Holding signed a new contract.
Again, I'm going to give him the same as David Luiz, a 5. I said this in my own player ratings. I'm going to stick with it. I think both of them, they could have done more trying to help the lack of creativity by putting those long balls, trying to, Holding sometimes diagonals, trying to build up the play. He wasn't doing that as much. Some of his passes were a bit sloppy as well. And I think, again, same as David Luiz, 5.
Wow, WSL HJ very harsh today.
I think the Holding rating is quite harsh. I mean, I don't know if any of you actually watch women's football, but he really reminded me of Leah Williamson today from the Arsenal team. I really hope this isn't just a post-contract signing performance where he has one good performance and then just leaves, like where he just doesn't perform again. I think this was probably his best performance of the season, though. For me, I think
really
not just from defensively. Like there was a few times when he got forward, there was a header on the corner. It went wide, but he attempted it. There was a time when he ran through like 3 of the midfielders and pinged a pass to Lacazette. I think Holding was trying to do more today. I think he was trying to be the Tierney where he goes forward and tries to get us moving. Obviously, he's not going to do what Tierney does because Tierney's much better. But I think he was. I'd give him a 7 with Louise. I think Louise was better defensively, but I think that's kind of what Louise and Holding planned, where Louise would be more defensive and Holding would be more offensive. But again, like Ray said, we kept a clean sheet, so you can only really praise the defenders for that. So I'd give him a 7.
But his headers were kind of poor. His headers were poor from the corners. He could have done much more.
I think that's how we set up. I'd argue that's how we set up. I think being in the 6-yard box, trying to put a header in the goal is going to be difficult from the 6-yard box because you're already going to have to get high to beat out the high defenders and the goalkeeper, and then to be able to bring it back down it's a really difficult task. So I think we need to change our corners.
You could have done a bit better though. There were good chances.
Every single game, Holding always gets like at least 2 headers or 2 chances from corners, but he never goes on target. But as you guys have said, that's not his job. Defensively, are you happy with him?
Yes, obviously me and WSL shared notes before the game, before this video, because we're pretty much coming in with the same views. But I'm delighted Holding's getting a run of games because I've actually always been a fan of his. The reason why, he's a very solid player. He rarely has terrible games, and he rarely makes the kind of mad decisions Socrates, Louise, Mustafi are very much capable of. So for me, Holding gets a 7. I think he's been one of our best players in the last month, actually, during this run. On the ball, off the ball, defending, shuffling as well. Today, I also noticed the same. He made a couple of nice runs as well, which very much surprised me because he knew he was going to get protected at the back. A couple of times when he broke through the middle and tried to ping a pass to the left or right. So, yeah, solid 7. Very impressed with him today.
Yeah, WSL, when you brought up that missed header, I remembered also Bellerin. Sorry to take you guys back to Bellerin, but also at the start of the second half, Bellerin had the chance to shoot the ball and he shot it off target. I did not understand why everyone at Arsenal shoots the ball off target when you're right in front of the post, but yeah, we'll go to the next one, and it's not a positive. HJ, Niles.
Niles, very poor today, very disappointed. I thought he would have done much better in that position. I mean, I thought he would have done better because he has done better in the left wing back position. But again, as Ray said, it's a very different position in terms of your duties as a defender. You don't have to do as much because you have your 3 centre backs covering you usually. Because last season against Wolves, against Man City, he had brilliant performances. But in an orthodox left back role, I didn't think he did well at all. Like you said, the misplaced passes, the positioning was out, crosses were poor. I'll give him a 2.
Now that one I can agree with. WSL.
My only thing with Maitland-Niles is he was meant to go to Wolves for like £15 million about 6 months ago, and Arteta was the one who demanded that he stayed. He's barely played since that like little fiasco, and when he has played, he's either played out of position or he's playing in a game where he needs to like be on job. Like today, no Tierney, he has to play well, and he didn't play well. And like last week with the Newcastle game, I roasted Pepe because he didn't play well enough. So I can only do the same thing with Niles. He needs to perform better if he wants to stay at Arsenal, let's be honest. Again, Maitland-Niles for me is never going to be a starter. He's always going to be a bench player. So, example, when a player's injured and you bring him in, he needs to play well, and he didn't play well. And yeah, the missed time passes are the main thing for me. They were just poor. Our passing, I think, today from both fullbacks were just really poor. I gave Bellerin a 2. I think Maitland-Niles was slightly better, so I'd give him a 3.
A 3. Ray, what did you give him? He also had that kind of Ronaldinho moment where he dribbled past 3 players. But again, Arsenal's shots, they are never threatening. What did you make of him?
Yeah, I believe with the guys. I mean, I agree with the guys in regards to his performance. Yeah, he made that run, but he does that, He has that capability, isn't it? The flip-flaps, the quick dribbles, terrible finisher, and not very good distribution on the ball. And again, very fortunate that people didn't attack his side, because I think he would have just got done. If I was Hodgson, I would have swapped Zaha or Eze to that side a couple of times and test Ainsley. I think I'm being very polite here by giving him 5. And the reason for that is because we kept a clean sheet, and I always look at defense first. And he hasn't played a lot of games, and I've never remembered him playing as left back with an orthodox 4. So I think he did a solid enough job. So I'll give him a 5, but a lot to be admired. I think he's got a lot of pressure on him to try and get in his team, personally.
A 5. Do you remember he almost scored an own goal? For me,
but he didn't.
Probably a 3. A 3. I mean, a 3. That is because he can't pass well. That's why he can't even pass to the post, and he passed outside. Probably if you had decent passes, it would have gone in. I'm sure that was also
he was clearing the ball. He was clearing the ball from the halfway line.
I think one thing with Maitland-Niles is I think he was trying too hard to be Tierney today. I mean, he kept coming down in the middle way too much and leaving the left side completely exposed. And I think that Ronaldinho-like moment, I think that was he's seen what Tierney did against West Brom, and I think he's trying to replicate that. And it was a great move to get past the defenders. But like Ray said, I think you said it, Glenn, actually, the shot was just so unthreatening. It was right at the goalkeeper. He was in a perfect position to bend it top right corner, or to maybe pass it off or something, and he just blasts it straight at the keeper. It's like it was a waste of such a great move.
There was no conviction either, isn't it? You never thought he was going to put his foot through.
It was very soft.
Was almost like it was.
Yeah, it was so weak.
He did.
If he puts that in the top bins, we're all giving him 8s.
Well, yeah, exactly. Dude. He's getting man of the match if he puts that top bin.
Tierney did that with his weaker foot, so he really needs to work. And I'll start with you. I'll start with you for the midfielders, WSL, and I'll spoil your day even more, WSL Xhaka. I mean, misplaced passes and fouls. This guy committed 8 fouls today.
I do not like Xhaka as a player, to be honest. I'd get rid of him. But I think again today he was not the worst player. Xhaka is a defensive midfielder. So if we're going on what Ray says, in which you look at the basics of what the player needs to do, he did his job today. We didn't concede. We controlled the middle. Let's be honest. I mean, I don't think Palace were trying to go down the middle. But was that their tactics, or was that because we shut them down? That's the question that we won't know the answer to. But Xhaka, again, the tackles and the blocks were pivotal. Otherwise, there could have been a few goals for Palace. But again, just the stupid fouls, like the standing on the feet and the dragging of the arm. It's like I just don't really understand why we need to do that. Like people get on at David.
He can't help himself.
People get on at David Louise for that kind of thing. But the difference for me with David Luiz is that's who David Luiz is. Like you look at Sergio Ramos, he bullies players, he'll push them over and laugh at them. So I understand that with Louise, but with Xhaka, I don't get it. Like Xhaka, I think he's just a violent person sometimes. Like he gets a bit too ahead of himself and he needs to sometimes take a step back and, actually choose whether it's worth doing what he's going to do. I think the simple fact that we kept a clean sheet, I'll give him a 5, but that's about it.
HJ Xhaka?
I agree with what WSL said, to be honest. He did a lot of things good that we could have conceded, especially that one where The ball came in from the right side, and Xhaka made that thing where he nearly scored the own goal, but it went over. If Xhaka doesn't get that, it's a tap in for Benteke, isn't it? So things like that. Yes, he does give away fouls, but ever since he came to the club, his discipline has never been good. That's a written fact. That's a known fact, and he does stupid things. But I thought today, going back to what his job was, he did it well, but sometimes his passing, as I said, wasn't good enough. But overall, I'd give him a 5, I think.
Wow. Okay, Ray, I'm very surprised. Okay, Ray.
I think he's just unintelligent, isn't he? Because he keeps making these indisciplined decisions and indisciplined fouls. That's just who he is, unfortunately, and we have to accept it.
That's a good comment.
Yeah, not respect it, but accept it.
Yeah,
but I feel the performance itself, I just accept Xhaka for what he is. So if he doesn't get sent off or doesn't do something completely stupid, I find it like it's a win. It's like a thumbs up straight away. So the actual performance from a defensive aspect was very solid, going back to what I said in the beginning. So I actually think from a CDM aspect, it was one of the best performances I can remember from Xhaka. Again, not saying a lot, but I'll give him a 6 because despite him being a CDM, his ball distribution was very poor, and it should have been better for me.
Yeah.
Because if there's something Xhaka does have, he does have a decent long ball on him. But yeah, I think there are a few players who just need to be moved on. I think they're very comfortable. I think Xhaka's one of them. So I'll give him a 6, simply because when we really needed to defend, he kept his own.
Are we talking about Xhaka or Saka? Because let me ask you guys. Yes, I know that chance you're talking about, HJ, where he went back and he cleared the ball. Guess who had given away the ball? Granit Xhaka, and he had to go back to collect it and to clear the ball, otherwise would have conceded. In the first half, he had a good tackle, broke the ball from Zaha, which gets him a couple of points, and also that one that you had mentioned, HJ. But those he almost cost us like 3 goals. Those dangerous free kicks he keeps giving away outside the box, where as they had that free kick where they had that chance with Tompkins hitting the bar. So many times he gave away the ball. So many times he could have been booked.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate him like competing with the likes of McCarthy, and McCarthy in the middle is not easy. The likes of Milivojevic, but I don't know, man. I think 6 is too high. Ray, I'd probably give him like a 4, because those balls he gives away. He was not the worst player on the pitch, because like the likes of Niles are very bad. That is why he's not the worst player on the pitch, but he did not make me happy at all. So maybe I'd agree with you guys and give him like maybe a 5 in the middle. So
Glenn, there is one thing that I will say about Xhaka, at least. Obviously, if you remember what happened the last time, I think we played Palace at home. At least he didn't walk off the pitch, swear at the fans, and throw his shirt down the tunnel. That's the only thing you can really say.
Because there were no fans.
That's positive about Xhaka. But knowing Xhaka, he'd still find a way. He'd come to your house, dude, and swear at your face. Do you know what I mean? He's that kind of player.
Yeah, WSL, Tobias.
I'm quite a big critic of Ceballos. I wouldn't buy him permanently, if I'm being honest. But with Ceballos, I mean, today there's certain moments where I kind of forgot he was playing. But I think that's because the position that he was playing in isn't his position. You know, he's a bit more of a box to box for me, a bit like a Partey. And today I think he was told to defend more. And again, Palace didn't really attack down the middle as much as I expected them to. So with Ceballos, he didn't really have much to do. There was a pass, I think, right at the beginning. Like he spun a player and then put a great pass into, I think it was Smith Rowe on the left side. That was really it. Like Ceballos, the reason why we loaned him in was because of his performances in the Under-23s World Cup for Spain. And if you actually watch clips from that tournament, he made some great passes that led to goals. And he hasn't done that for Arsenal. And his dream is to play for Madrid. I don't ever see him playing for Madrid, to be honest. I don't think he's the kind of player that I'd fit there.
Can't play for Malaga.
Well, yeah, he'd be lucky to get into Real Betis if we're being totally honest. So I think he was decent today. Like Xhaka, I'd probably give him a 5 because he didn't do anything stupid like Xhaka did. And he wasn't that bad. He didn't lose the ball as much as he usually does, but I mean, again, it's just poor. You know, we need midfielders that are on the level of a Thomas Partey, and we only have Thomas Partey that's on that level, which is just unfortunate, really.
I don't know. I feel bad for them. I feel really worried for them because now the likes of Partey are back. I don't see them starting. HJ?
Ceballos, I thought in the first half he was trying. He was putting some forward balls. He was putting some brilliant balls in the first half to try and create chances. I've always said this about Ceballos. I think he plays too deep. I think he needs to play a number 10. But obviously now Smith Rowe has come and he's playing so well. So you're not going to displace him. But I think Ceballos needs to play a bit more advanced if he can, if Smith Rowe doesn't play. Ceballos again, second half was poor, disappeared, didn't do much in the game. So I'll give him a 5 as well.
Ray?
Yeah, I think this is where we're going to be a contrast. I think he's supposed to be a deep line playmaker, really. So kind of connecting the defense to the attack as fast as possible. Alessandro Cazorla.
I don't think he's a deep line playmaker. I really don't.
No, but
I think in that Spain under-21 World Cup where everyone thought he was really good, he played as a number 10. And that's where he shone in that, as that final pass sort of person.
Right. But for Arsenal, he's supposed to be the deep line playmaker because we never play.
That's on Arteta. That's on Arteta for making that bad tactical decision, which I've called him out on a lot.
So I'll explain my point, yeah? So as a deep line playmaker, he's got to transition the ball quickly because for me, Ceballos has that ability. The problem is his passes are so slow. He's very languid. He's always looking at the back pass first, and I'm just not impressed. I hope to God we don't sign him on a permanent deal because we have players in our squad who I feel can offer more than him going forward. And he doesn't really have the power to go forward to be box to box either. And number 10, I don't trust he has those balls personally because I don't see enough pace and movement for him to find the pass and go for it straight away. Despite the fact he did hit a stunning ball to Aubameyang.
I thought Aubameyang should have done much better from him.
Most certainly, he should have run onto it, in my opinion. So for Ceballos, for what he needs to be in that position, and today I'll give him a 4 because for me, he gave me nothing.
He also had a good pass to Saka early in the first half where Saka had a chance with his right foot, but he got a corner from it. So I'd say is the only one probably trying to pass forward maybe twice or 3 times. But yeah, maybe a 5 or something like that. Again, WSL. Smith Rowe today a bit quiet.
Yeah, this was probably his most quiet game out of the last 4 that he's played. I think with Smith Rowe, I usually don't like hearing people say that players need rests and stuff like that because they're footballers. But Smith Rowe's only really just broke into the team. He's also still quite young. Well, he's 20. I know it's not really young, but to say his career at Arsenal and the first team, it's a young career. He wasn't supposed to play against Newcastle. We know this. The only reason he came on was because we weren't really doing anything without him. So I will say that he did look a little bit tired today, like a little bit worn out, and that he could have probably used a rest against Newcastle. But yeah, he tried, which is what matters. Certain players don't try at all. And Smith Rowe is always trying, whether it's paying off or not. And again, today he tried. There's certain times when he whipped a decent ball in or he attempted a pass. And I think, if anything, I'd actually put it down to Crystal Palace. I think they shut him down quite easily. I think they realised that recently he's the main man for Arsenal. So I think they singled him out and shut him down. And I think they did that quite well. But I'd give Smith Rowe probably a 6. Because, again, he tried, which is really all you can say is a positive.
SJ?
Yeah, I agree with WSL. I think he tried, and again, he tried creating things, but I think Crystal Palace, the defensive line was very good today, and I think that's one of the reasons he didn't get as much opportunities. He had a lot of touches in the game. I got a touch him up here. He tried things down that right hand side of Crystal Palace.
Before even going, that is why I have people like Ray HJ19 WSL coming on here. I mean, I did not ask for touch, but he came with it. I mean, legends. Go ahead.
See, it's just my point. It just helps my point here because down that right hand side, he tried Emil Smith Rowe. He tried linking up with Lacazette, tried linking up with different players. But again, it's just someone like Smith Rowe as a number 10. You're not gonna have.
Could you bring that up? Could you bring that up again?
Yeah. Someone like Smith Rowe, you're not gonna have every single game. You're not gonna always be involved with everything. As in terms of like goals and trying to create as many chances, but he tried in this game, and I think that's what's important because in most of the games against like West Brom, he did create those chances, and obviously Saka did score that really good goal.
Yeah, thank you for that. So what did you give him for today?
Smith Rowe 6.
6. Ray?
Yeah, this trying thing I can't really get behind, because you step on a pitch, you should be giving your all for me, and I don't think Emil Smith Rowe should be suddenly targeted as trying hard above anyone else. With all due respect,
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of
I see where
favoritism.
that comes from.
I feel that's favoritism coming in. So for me, Smith Rowe I agree, definitely he was blocked out, wasn't he? I mean, Crystal Palace managed the low blocks really well to not allow Neil Smith to have that space. And unfortunately, when he drifted to the right, because I'm also looking at the heat maps, he drifted onto the right, but Bellerin doesn't have the intelligence to make the overlapping runs for him, so meaning that he was being ineffective in that position. So unfortunately, I'd give Emil Smith Rowe a 4, because he didn't give us the outlet that we needed in the game. But most of that was because Palace defended really well, didn't they? We didn't create anything clear cut.
Yeah, I agree with you in the trying thing. I mean, I always tell people it's not enough. You know, Sheffield have been trying the whole season, but they're last. Like, you need to do more than trying. And that thing for confidence players I was talking to Chronicles of Aguna the other day on his channel, and he was talking about the likes of Pepe are confidence players. We have so many confidence players. We'll come to them.
Yeah.
The next one, I'll start with you with the forward players. Ray, Saka?
Saka, I mean, my God, he just has to do everything, doesn't he? He was an attacker, then he became left back, and then he's like a right wing back he was becoming, and he just has to do everything. I'll give him a 6 for effort. It's funny I say what I just said. I'll give him a 6 for the fact that he did his job.
He tried. He tried.
He tried.
Poor guy, he tried. But I think I'll give him a 6 because he was getting in really good positions in the second half, as you know, playing as left back, and he was putting in some really nice corners. And that's the first time I've ever seen him put in consistent corners in the right areas. Maybe not very nice, but in the right areas. So I'll give him a 6. And when he played at left back, at no point did I think Crystal Palace were gonna threaten him, even if they came down that side, because he's a very intelligent player. So for me, I'll give Saka a 6.
Yeah, WSL, Saka playing at left back, playing at right wing, making the tackles, creating the chances. What did you give him?
I kind of feel like this is why Palace decided not to go down the left. I think they originally thought, with Tierney being out, that Saka would be the left back, and he is such a good player at left back. I don't think it should be his main position, but look at him when he plays for England. You know, he's getting picked over Ben Chilwell, who's apparently the best left back in the world to some Chelsea fans. But Saka is, you know, a world-class player. Whether other fans want to say he is or not, he is. You know, he's going to be one of the best in the world for me. And whether that be at Arsenal or not, I don't know. But he, on the right wing, I think I agree with the effort thing. What I will say really quickly about Smith Rowe is I don't agree with this trying thing either. But certain players do not try at all. So it's nice to see some players try that little bit extra. And Saka's the exact same. You know, he's always trying. You can just tell that he loves the club because he just does everything for us. He tries everything that he can possibly try. He does as much as he possibly can do. And I mean, there are going to be certain games where players like Saka and Smith Rowe aren't going to be allowed to do what they want to do. And I think today Palace defensively were excellent. You know, they shut down the players that were a danger, being Saka and Smith Rowe. Like they left Aubameyang completely on his own. What team ever leaves a player like Aubameyang on his own? They know that he's not in form. And, you know, it paid off for them because Aubameyang didn't do anything, whereas Saka was trying so hard. But I think when he switched to the left back, I think for me, that was the game over. I think without Saka going forward, we weren't going to win. So I'd give him a 6 because, you know, he was the only player really doing anything, really.
Yeah, the amount of tries I've had here, if we were playing rugby, would have been top of the table. SJ90, did he try? Did Saka try?
Yes, I think he did try, but again, I think where the trying thing comes from, I sort of agree with Ray when he says every player should try. But over the years, through the last years of Wenger, through Emery's era, players didn't try. And I think now we have young players that do want to give their all for the badge, and that's what we need. And in some games like this, you will be frustrated because you won't be able to break the teams down. I think that's where it goes on to the manager to make that tactical switch to try and break down that Crystal Palace defense, because we knew they were going to come here and do this because they were going to try and play on the counter attack with Eze and Zaha and all those players. But I think that's down on Arteta tactically. Saka, he tried creating the chances, he tried, but nothing came avail of it. So I'll give him a 5.
5 WSL.
No, I give him
I've
a
already,
6. Yeah, I
and
give him a 6.
Ray?
Sorry, say that again.
Ray?
Sorry.
What did you give
Yeah,
Saka?
what is it? I give him a 6. I
Okay.
said my part already. Yeah, 6.
Yeah, okay. The next one is going to be the forward players. Aubameyang, WSL.
He needs to be dropped for me. Not in a harsh way.
Agreed.
I appreciate every single thing he's done for us over the past 2 years, especially last season. We haven't seen a trophy in ages, you know. And for him to be able to bring us that trophy was exactly what we needed to give us a bit of spark. But I think certain times of Aubameyang, I kind of wish we didn't give him a new contract, because you got to look at you got to look at his age. He is only going to get worse. Every single good player is going to get worse when they get older. And I don't know whether this is because of his age or whether it's just poor form, but the guy's just not performing. And like I said, no team in the Premier League last season would leave Aubameyang unmarked. Crystal Palace left him unmarked today. They were not scared of him at all. And it kind of shows something when he didn't do anything again. You know, I had people telling me that he was going to kick on after his goal against Newcastle. I'm still waiting. Let's be honest, it was just a simple tap-in. He did nothing for that goal against Newcastle. It was all Tierney and Xhaka. All he had to do was tap it in. But yeah, again, I think today he was a little bit more dangerous in a sense.
Yeah.
But even when he came out on the pitch, he didn't look ready. Like he walked on quite, like he looked upset again, and he looked like he really wasn't bothered. Whereas like Lacazette was really up for it.
Looked lethargic.
Yeah, you could see Lacazette was up for it. You know, he was ready to get another goal. Whereas Aubameyang was he's kind of like, oh, it's just another day. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've just got to get it over with. It's like you're the captain of Arsenal Football Club. You're at the same position as players like Vieira and Tony Adams, who would give everything for the badge. And right now he's giving us absolutely nothing. So you've got to drop him, but he gets a free today.
Wow, HJ Aubameyang did have a couple of good trials in the first half, good shots.
He did. I think he had 2 shots that were quite good. He should have done better. But again, when we go back to this confidence thing, he's becoming one of them confidence players now that is trying to rely on a bit of confidence to get a goal or something, try to get himself going consistently in the Premier League. Arteta came into the job talking about non-negotiables, or this player, if he's not good enough, he won't get dropped. No players guaranteed a place. It looks like now Aubameyang is just guaranteed a place because he's captain and what he's done before. Just because what you've done before doesn't help us now. Those goals before are not going to help us score goals now. They're not. You have to score goals now, and I think he has to be dropped so Aubameyang can realise. And I think maybe the captain's armband should be taken off him. Give it to Tierney. He's a real leader in that team. I think give it to him. I think Aubameyang does better. He's done better without the armband, without that pressure. He's done more, and I think when he was playing on the left at the start of the season, people said, "Oh, put him down the center. Put him down the center will work." We put him down the center. It still wasn't working. So there's something seriously wrong with what he's doing. Maybe he's not the same player. I think he needs to be dropped. I agree with WSL on that one as well. He needs to be dropped so he can get his way back into the side like everyone else should do. And I'll give Aubameyang a 2 today.
Wow. Ray, let me tell you another thing that Arsenal fans always say. He worked hard. People always that thing for trying. People always say this one worked hard and this one worked hard. I did feel like he worked hard today. Do you agree with them?
If I can go back a step, so Arsene Wenger kind of bought this thing of when a player looks like he's going to leave or the best player in the team, he gives him the captaincy armband. He did it with Fabregas, he did it with Henry, he did it with Van Persie, he does it. Now he's done it with Aubameyang. He's not captain material. A captain for me is a guy who'll die for the shirt.
Tierney.
Tierney. Even someone like Leno, someone who I really think would just put their heart in it all the time. So Aubameyang has never been captain material. In regards to the effort aspect, I don't think he's working hard enough. I don't think he's putting in the shift. And he's very lucky Martinelli turned his ankle, because for me, he was about to get dropped proper. Because out of all of our attacking 4 or 5 players every time. Aubameyang looks like the weak link. He looked like the weak link again today. And can't wait for Martinelli to get back because I want him on the left and I want Aubameyang to be dropped to understand that your place ain't guaranteed because you're on Barcelona. And
Okay, so
I know Glenn. So for me, it's a 3, and I'm being polite.
I'll tell you why I don't like that idea of taking the captaincy and dropping him. You know that will just bring problems, and the media will be all over it.
Don't drop
and
the captain. Don't take the band off him, but drop him from the team.
Mm-hmm.
No, but the thing is, if you're going to drop him, you have to give someone else the armband.
Yeah, you have to give it to him.
The question there is who else gets it, and for me, he's going to give it to Lacazette.
Well, you have your vice.
Tierney's the only option, dude.
Well,
that's the thing, though. Yeah, that is true, but we don't have a vice captain. That's the issue. We give captaincy. You know, we gave Mustafi the captaincy a few weeks ago. We gave Mustafi the captaincy.
Chaka, innit?
So
Chaka.
I'm pretty sure Xhaka's had it, Mustafi's had it. I'm pretty sure
Bellerin had it as well.
Aubameyang's had it. Lacazette's had it. Bellerin's had it. Literally, so many
the
players.
only player who hasn't had it yet is Tierney, the player who deserves it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just feel like if Aubameyang is dropped or the captaincy is removed, it's just going to bring more problems at Arsenal, and it's going to be all over the place again. The thing I'd say, he was given the captaincy because he was leading as an example on the pitch, not because he's the leader, but because he was leading by the goals and the effort on the pitch. But yeah, it was a bad idea. The next one is going to be Lacazette. HJ?
I don't think he was that good today. He had that confidence, obviously. Again, he's one of them confidence players. He has that run, and he has runs, and then he disappears. He has runs, then he disappears. He had 5 goals coming into this one in the last 4 games. We expected something from him today, but again, just didn't get it from him today, unfortunately. But I'll give him a 3.
Wow, a 3. Ray, for Lacazette, the only chance he had, Bellerin took it off him. What did you give him for today?
I was so angry. That was the only time I was so angry in the game. I effed him blindly because I'm like, even if Bellerin got it, what are you gonna do, you fool mug?
That was because that was the only time you were awake. Because in the second half, there was a lot of times I was so angry.
Yeah. The only time the commentary went above volume 3 was when Bellerin took the ball. Lacazette just gets a 3 from me because he did nothing. Legit nothing. Couldn't get the ball to him, and again, it's because I'll give more credit to Palace, but Lacazette just really offered nothing. So when he came off for Nketiah, I was kind of like, whatever, because nothing was happening with Lacazette anyway. So I'll give him a 3, Lacazette.
Melissa?
What I will say is, I think a lot of I'm not blaming anybody here, by the way, for this. This is just in general of our fan base. I think a lot of people like to criticize Lacazette without a real reason. I definitely don't think he's the future of our club, and I don't think he's the best option for us right now. But he has scored 5 goals in 4 games. We gave Aubameyang a lot of credit last season for what he did, and I'm not comparing what Lacazette's done in the last 4 games to what Aubameyang did last season. But the only real reason why Aubameyang got the captaincy and why he got the massive contract that he has is because of the goals he scored. So we need to give the same credit to Lacazette. He scored 5 goals in 4 games. He single-handedly won us a few of those games. So we have to give him that credit. I think today, if any player was going to score, it was going to be Lacazette. And I agree with when Bellerin took that chance from him, it just proves how poor of a player Bellerin is. But Lacazette, for me, it wasn't really how good he was. It's how good he could have been with certain differences in the game. And I don't even mean players. I mean tactical errors from the manager. I think Lacazette just wasn't utilised properly today. I think we knew how Palace were going to play. It's how they've played all season. Yet we just don't change anything. Yeah, I don't agree with a 6 for Aubameyang, by the way. I think that was a little high.
He tried. He tried. I don't think Aubameyang
tried at all today. Actually, I forgot he even played, if I'm being honest. But yeah, Lacazette, I'd give him a 4, a little bit higher than the other 2. But yeah, man, it's just a little bit sad how Lacazette can go from being the most praised, loved player of the club, and then 90 minutes later, he's the most hated, he misses too many chances, he's not good enough, this and that. You stick to your one opinion, you know what I mean? Yes, you can go game by game, but he has saved us these last 4 games, let's be honest.
I think with Lacazette,
after you. No, go on.
Yeah, with Lacazette, after the first season he had, before Aubameyang came into the club, after that, after the following seasons. He's had just runs where he scores 4 or 5 goals in a few games, then disappears for 8, 9 games. I think with Lacazette, he's never really had proper consistency within his game, which is why he has lacked.
I agree. Again, I'd actually sell him personally. I don't think
I'll sell him as well in January. In the summer.
In the summer, yeah. If we're being honest, though, you've got to look at it right now. We've been poor all season. No player has been good until the last month or so. And in the last month, one of the players performing is Lacazette. So right now, I'll give him his praise. But when he goes on inconsistency again, he's going to get these low ratings. But yeah, he gets a 4 from me.
Wow, you'd sell Lacazette and drop Aubameyang. Then we need a striker. We need to buy a striker. Then
I don't know. I don't think we do. I don't think we need to buy one. We have Martinelli on the bench. We have Martinelli. He can play striker. He's a world class footballer already. So I'd play him up front or Bellerin, but we're going to get rid of him apparently. So
yeah.
Glenn, could I have Lacazette quickly?
Yeah.
I think with Lacazette, I mean, the guy like Leon was just a phenomenon. And when we bought him, I just couldn't believe it. But straight away, I kind of saw that I don't think we were really playing to his strengths too much. And I think he's had to adapt his game quite a lot since he's been at Arsenal and almost change himself as a player and position. Because at Lyon, he used to rely on pace. Now he relies more on movement off him. And I agree with WSL that I think he gets very harshly treated, considering he is someone who always puts in the effort, always puts himself about. And I agree that he should be our striker for the next few games, because if there's someone who looks like scoring, not today, but if there's someone that looks like scoring, it's him. So he should play every game. Is he the future? Absolutely not. In the summer, we should let him go, and we should definitely try and find a replacement of some sort.
What did you give him for today?
I gave him a 3.
A 3, okay. WSL is saying about replacement strikers Martinelli, Bellerin. Here's another one who came on, Nketiah.
Absolutely not. He's not okay at all, dude. He needs to go as well. He needs to get out the door.
But
he's good at Football Manager. He's good in Football Manager.
Yeah. He said you want 30 million.
You set yourself up for that, WSL. I wanted to do that to you. Nketiah wasn't on for too long, so he'll get a standard 5. But I'll tell you someone who was on probably for too long. Pepe. HJ90. Pepe, should he have come on earlier to get himself time to prepare? As you said.
You're never going to forget that, are you?
Never.
Should have come on the 10th minute. Should have come on the 10th minute.
Yeah, to warm himself up for the 60th minute. What did you give him, HJ?
I don't think I see so much from it.
Well, you better double down, yeah? You better double down. You better not say, yeah, it was shit. No, you got to go down with that.
He was bad in this game.
Yeah, you got to back your man. You got to back your man.
He was pretty bad in this game, I have to say. Again, as I said, he's one of them players who he's bad for 89 minutes, but then 1 minute he has those moments of brilliance where he cuts on the left foot and then puts it in the bins, top bins, and then that he's just one of them players. And he didn't have one of their moments today because there's always Crystal Palace players marking him because they know what he can do. And I think that was something they realized as soon as he came on, which again proves my point. If we put him on earlier, then Pepe has the chance to understand it. But yeah, I'll give Pepe a 3.
Now, let me tell you something with Pepe. I think it was on Friday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I think it was on Wednesday where Arsenal uploaded a video where it was titled "Pepe scores a magnificent goal." I didn't even watch it because I didn't even watch because I know he does that in training. But on the pitch, he came on, gets a chance to shoot the ball, and it's off target as usual. How many times will he take the shot off target?
For me, I did watch that YouTube video actually, and once again, Kieran Tierney's out in his shorts and t-shirt. I will just mention that, what a legend he is. But this is the thing, and I saw a lot of people put this in the comments, that Pepe can do that in training. You know, we know he has ability. He's not a player that doesn't have ability. We know what he can do, but it's just sad to sometimes see him not do it. However, today, I'm actually going to back him. I don't usually back him, but today, I think as soon as he came on the pitch, I instantly saw Palace move into this pincer, where they were essentially keeping him in the middle of 2 players. So where if he got the ball, he couldn't do anything with it. And this is exactly what happened. Bellerin must have fed the ball into him about 3 or 4 times. And every single time it just bounced off of him because he couldn't do anything with the ball. So I think Pepe is going to get a lot of stick today, and I think it's somewhat deserved, but somewhat not deserved, because yes, he was £72 million, even though we all know he isn't actually worth that. But you can't blame him for Palace being good. Like, you can't blame a player for that. He was singled out. You know, Bellerin should have done more to assist him. He should have made overlapping runs to bring the defenders away. He didn't do that. But yeah, the shots off target needs to change. You know, he can score these absolute bangers in training, and then when it comes to the actual game, he skies it over the bar. So I agree with that. He needs to get his shooting on target. But I'd just give Pepe a standard 5 today. I don't think he was bad or good.
Yeah, Roxington says that his tactics are killing Pepe. Maybe, but the shots off target and on target, that is not the manager's problem. He needs to shoot the ball on target. Okay, Sweetie, thanks for the super chat. Sorry, she says that it's a 7. Yeah, we'll get to it right now. I appreciate it. Ray has gone a bit, so we'll go to the next one. Who else came on? Party. HJ Party?
Party.
Sorry. Glenn?
Okay,
Can you hear me?
okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Pepe.
So I just put off my video. So with Pepe, for me, he's a Maverick player. I agree with what was said earlier, that he'll give you 8 points of madness where you get so angry with him, but then he'll might give 2 moments of magic, and I accept that for what he is. But one thing I'll say is I agree with WSL. The moment he came on the pitch, Palace were very wary of him. And one thing I always give credit to Pepe, he doesn't go hiding. He does actually try to do something. And a lot of the time it's very frustrating. It doesn't come off, but he always tries to be a threat the whole time. So I always see that in every game. Very frustrating, but he's one of the Maverick players who can bring magic at any point in the game. So for me, I'll actually give him a 5, just based on the fact that every time he got the ball, he tried to make something happen, which is not what, for example, Oba was able to do. So yeah, I'll give him a 5.
Okay, HJ Party.
With Party, I think again, he was trying to get back to fitness. He's been out for a while. I thought some of the things he did, interceptions, some of the things what Jack was doing in terms of the tackling, he did well. But the thing with Party is you're going to get consistency within that and the passing as well. You're hardly going to see Party, do the basic things wrong. And I think that's what Party is so good at sometimes, giving us that solidity. And I think he did bring us that. And hopefully in the Newcastle game, he can start. And I think in this game, I'll just give him straight down the middle of 5.
5. Ray?
Yeah, I mean, the moment Party came on, you just see a difference in quality in the middle of the park, isn't it? Not only with positioning, but even quick distribution of the ball. So even though he wasn't on the pitch that long, I'll put him up to a 6 straight away, because at no point do I think Palace even dare to attack the middle of the park, because Partey is just such a beast. So I'll give him a standard 6, and I really hope he can keep fit, because with Partey in the team, I just think we're a different beast.
Okay, give us your rating on Arteta so I can let you go.
Oh, I'll stay on. Don't worry. Unless you want me to go.
Okay, no, we have. No. Come on, you're not Mustafi. What did you give Mustafi WSL? Whether he played or didn't play, what did you give him?
What I give Mustafi?
Yeah, whether he played or didn't play.
I mean, he can get a 0 because he's still at this club.
Yeah,
And
it's
time to go.
If these reports are real that he's refusing to leave, then he is a joke, because I understand why he's refusing to leave. I don't blame him, because he's on a massive contract and he knows he's not going to get that anywhere else. But
yeah,
if you want to be good, like in a good reputation with the fans, you don't ever refuse to leave a club when you're told to leave. That's like the one thing you never do. But yeah, he gets a 0. He was trash.
Yeah. But I think for someone like Mustafi, he's on 140 odd grand a week. So why wouldn't you sit out the 6 months and then go for the signing on bonus?
I don't blame, in a business way, I don't blame him at all for not leaving. And it's the same thing
with games as well.
These players know they're not getting this money anywhere else.
Mustafi's playing games as well. He's played in the Europa League. He's captained this team. He rejected a contract from Arsenal. So he is playing a few games. And I think if I was Mustafi, I think I would do that as well.
Oh God! Just starting the Mustafi debate. That was a bad idea. But I can imagine that is what he always tells the manager. What Troy has told me, like the manager asks him, before we let you go, Mustafi, are you? Unless you want to let me go, I don't want to go. I can imagine that's what he always tells Arteta every time. HJ Arteta.
Arteta, I think he did well with not playing Tierney and Marie because he obviously didn't want to risk injury. I thought they could have made the bench at least because someone like Tierney can come on at halftime if he was feeling good to give us an impact to the creativity. I thought he could have made a difference. But with Arteta, you couldn't have done too much in terms of the lineup. I was kind of happy with it considering the injuries. But I think tactically, what could have you done? Because Crystal Palace were defensively good, we just couldn't break them down. You could have done a bit more. I'll give him a 5, I think, straight down the middle. It was one of them games where I don't think we could have done much more with the situation we were in with the 2 injuries we had. I'm not sure what actually happened to Oneni, but it was just one of them frustrating games, I think.
WSL?
I'm just gonna come clean. He gets a 1. At the end of the day, a lot of people argue, and I'm getting kind of sick of some of the fan base and how they're able to one week say it's the players' fault, the next week it's the manager, and then the week after that it's the players again. At the end of the day, the manager is the manager. He picks the players. If they play bad, it's his fault because he picked them. He's the one that's at there. We know he's involved in training because he's done something like the rondos and stuff with them. So he knows exactly what they're doing in training. The one thing with Arteta for me, he's really good at making strategies, just like Pep. Like Pep Guardiola and Arteta have that in common. But the difference between Arteta and Pep is that Arteta doesn't have tactics. To have a good to have a good strategy, you need to have good tactics as well, and it's the same vice versa. And he doesn't change his tactics. He sticks to one set of tactics, and if it goes wrong, it goes wrong, and we just accept the loss or the draw. And I'm getting really sick of this. Pep Guardiola is a world-class manager because if something goes wrong, he changes it up and he makes difference and he makes those changes. And it's the same thing with Jurgen Klopp and Jose Mourinho. With Arteta, he needs to, for me, leave this club, go to somewhere with a bit more ease, learn how to do tactics, and then if he wants to come back and we choose to sign him again, then I guess we do that. But for me now,
we don't want him back.
Right now, Arteta is not the man for this job at all. And it's not that he won't be a good manager. It's that he's way too inexperienced to take this job. We need a manager who's harsh, who's rough with the players, who will actually manage these players properly and won't come out and say one thing and then do something completely different a week later. And for me, Arteta picks favourites. Like you said with the Aubameyang thing, Aubameyang is his favourite. He plays every single week, even if he plays bad. It's like he's a favourite. And I think some of the stuff off the pitch, is getting really, really bad. Like this Bellerin situation is getting worse. But if we're looking at today's performance from Arteta's perspective, in about the 80th minute, he brought Nketiah on. He looked clueless. He looked like he just didn't know what he was doing. He kind of looked to his bench and picked out the first player he saw and brought him on. And then when it was about 87th minute and he knew we weren't going to win, he just looked so like he was looking like he was making up answers for his press conference already. Whereas like a Jose Mourinho will fight to the last minute. Arteta had already given up. He was ready to go in the interview and, to answer the questions. So yeah, he gets a 1. For me, it was his fault today. And I think he brought the substitutes on way too late. Once again, he's done this a few times this season.
A bit like Wenger. Okay. Not make a substitution until the 60th, 70th minute.
I mean, Ray, to counter what WSL said, he lost probably our best player, Tierney, our most creative spark in the team. That is 4 clean sheets in a row in all competitions, I suppose. That was against Brighton, against Newcastle today, and against West Brom. He did bring on the sub that I wanted early on. Like, at least he didn't take out like Lacazette early on. At least he did take someone else and bring in Saka to the left side and throw in Pepe. That was a positive sub. Then Nketiah, as Ray said earlier, Lacazette had not done anything anyway, so I was okay with it. So the clean sheet and everything, yes, he didn't perform up front, but 1 is too harsh, right?
Yeah, so with WSL's points, I won't really get too much into Arteta as a manager leading us forward because it's currently what he is. But for me, the team is a representation of you as a manager, a bit like an office space. Your team form well if you're managing them well, because obviously you're leading them, you're putting down the tactics, you're putting down the tasks, and then obviously looking to motivate them. And that's where Klopp and Pep are incredible, because not only are they good tactically, but they're brilliant at man management and motivation, which is something I feel Arteta lacks. So when we come out on the pitch, the first thing we need to do before Crystal Palace settle in is play with the intensity and put them on the back foot. And I can't help but think Arteta is always scared about us conceding, and therefore kind of having that little club syndrome of making sure that you don't lose. And I have a big issue with that as Arsenal, because for me, we're one of the best clubs and we're one of the top 10 clubs in the world in regards to popularity and support. That I'd rather have us attack teams, give them something to be scared of, so they wouldn't dare have Eze and Zaha try and run us amok because they'd be too busy
Son
defending.
manager.
So for me, is in regards to his performance on the game, Glenn, because I'm just going to focus on the game, I would give Arteta 3, not because of the lineup, but because of how he instructed them to attack the game. Because we didn't attack the game for me, not the way we should have compared to how we did against West Brom, the second half against Brighton, and the game against Chelsea, where we were really exuberant and attacking. So I'll give him a 3.
Wow, what did you give him, AJ?
I think I gave him a 5 because I thought, look, I think I blame the manager. I don't like the manager's tactics with the way he approached the game, but I think the players as well as the manager should get the blame. I blame both. I'm not a fan of people at WSL said half the fan base, like 1 week it's like the players' fault, next week's the manager's fault. I blame both sides because both sides are at fault here. Some players, they just switch off, not disciplined, like Xhaka, and then we just didn't do enough. But I think in a way Arteta was hamstrung because he didn't know whether to pick Tierney, Marie, or Neni, who all three were injured and were starting the games that we were doing so well in. So I think in a sense I'll go away the blame from Arteta, but all of WSL's points about Arteta, I agree with.
One player shouldn't completely counteract the way we should approach a game. That's ridiculous.
No, not player, not one player. I'm talking about the team as a whole, not creating enough chances to finish the game. That's on the team when Arteta puts the team out.
No,
I think everyone looked at the lineup and said that's the best possible team we could put out with the players that were available. I think so. Anyway.
What I will say on that is, if you look at the previous 2 games, especially West Brom, it was all Tierney. But my only issue with that is, look at the actual teams we played against. Brighton are in like relegation form. West Brom are awful. Newcastle in the FA Cup, that was like basically a new team. Yeah, it like we aren't. Yes, we're performing well against teams that aren't good. If we play like that against Manchester United, I hate to say it, but they're going to they're going to absolutely destroy us. Bruno Fernandes is going to run us like we're nothing. So
I think we'll change our approach, though, like we did against Chelsea. We changed our
approach. They're different games.
I am hoping that, but I just don't see that in Arteta. I don't see him having that like managerial experience to go game by game. Hope. Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to throw out this team and I'm going to hope we win. And I think when we beat Manchester United earlier in the season, that's exactly what that was. That was we hoped, we got lucky and we won. But Man United are a different team. They're absolutely on form right now. And as I say, we play like that against Man United, every player is going to be getting like zeros, dude, because it's just going to be an embarrassment.
Let's just say the players were tired. They played 120 minutes against Newcastle.
That's what that was. Let's just hope. I really
for the ones who didn't play that game, they got tired watching it, and they were tired for today. I mean, 120 minutes.
I bet
they watched it.
Yeah, HJ, man of the match from the Arsenal team.
Man of the match from the Arsenal team. That's a tricky one, No one really impressed me as much, I'll be honest with you. It's a tricky one. Smith Rowe, possibly.
Right?
He did the most. He tried the most.
Don't do that. You can't say that.
Right? I know he gets annoyed. I know this guy gets annoyed.
He does not like the word try, dude. Don't ever use it.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't like rugby.
You do or you don't, that's it.
I hate rugby myself.
What did you give him? Our man of the match?
Mine would be Leno, because he did nothing wrong with the phenomenal save. So, and it was a poor game. No.
Oh yeah, Leno. Forgot about Leno. Probably would be Leno. Yeah, you're right.
Good. Have you said?
Yeah, my highest rated was Leno. I'm going with Leno.
Again, Leno.
He for me, Leno was going to be man of the match against Newcastle until Smith Rowe just absolutely stepped it up. But today, again, like Leno, so underrated. People forget what he does, which isn't a bad thing. It's just it proves how solid of a keeper he is. If you forget about what he does, it proves that you don't worry about him. Like, whereas a Runarsson, you're going to sit there and worry that he's going to make a mistake. With Leno, it's just, we know he's going to do well. We know he's going to save us, which, again, he did that today. So, yeah, he gets man of the match.
The problem he has is he keeps being compared to Martinez, isn't it? Because what Martinez did last season. People keep comparing him.
He's a very good keeper. He's a very good keeper.
Martinez is a world-class keeper, though, I will say that.
Yeah, I'd probably say Pepe because he didn't come on early. He needed to come on early to prepare himself. So Len, I agree with you guys, Len. So some quick fire questions, just quick answers so that you can end it in the next 2 minutes. I'll start with EWSL. Who impressed you most in the Crystal Palace game? Because I thought Kuyate and Tompkins were magnificent.
Eze, absolutely. I would take Eze over Pepe any day of the week right now. For me, he wasn't deadly in terms of finishing in the final third, but the way he just moves that ball forward, he reminds me of what Emile Smith-Rowe does for us. You know, he finds his pockets of space, runs through, finds the pass, and unfortunately, just like us today, Benteke, like Lacazette, was not on form. So I think he was let down by his striker, which is exactly what happened to us today, I think.
SJ?
I think I'd agree with WSL Eze. I think he's a player that I've liked, even when he was playing for QPR and when he joined Crystal Palace. I thought he was one that we should have looked at and that we still should be looking at as a player to bring in someone as a winger. But yeah, Eze and Kuyate, as I said, their defense, their line, you know, they were very disciplined, and I think that was very good today from Crystal Palace defense as well.
Right?
Yeah, triple threat. I'll have to go Eze as well. I think every time he got the ball, he looked a threat. Set pieces were good. And you could see he's still playing with the shackles. So when he really releases himself to be fully expressive, I think he's going to be world class.
I don't think he'll do that at Palace. I watched the Football Terrace a little bit earlier, and I think Terry said it perfectly. Palace has a reputation of bringing players that are meant to be good and aren't. Like, look at Wilfred Zaha, look at Townsend. And I really hope Eze isn't one of those players where he's
I think
really...
they'll sell him by then. I think he'll be
I think Eze is going to be the one that gets away. They'll sell him.
You'd do good in a Leipzig team, someone like Eze.
I think in a Germany team, like in a German team like Dortmund or something. Yeah. I'd take him at Arsenal. Dude, I'd take him at Arsenal.
I know he played very well. I know he played
top team.
I know he played very well, but I wouldn't be surprised if they gave Kuyate or Tompkins, because they're literally why we didn't score in that game.
Tompkins was a very good player.
Almost scored like every single ball that came in, he cleared it. So the next one, I don't need no explanation, just one-word answers. I'll start with you, HJ. What would be a centre-back pairing against Newcastle? 2 names.
Murray Holding.
Ray?
Murray Holding.
WSL?
Gabriel Mari.
Okay, the next one is, would you start Party, HJ?
Yep.
Ray?
Yep.
WSL?
Absolutely.
And then Ray, prediction for Arsenal Newcastle?
1-0 Arsenal.
I can already see another ball fest. HJ 90?
3-1 Arsenal.
3-1 Arsenal. Newcastle to score a goal. WSL?
Carroll.
I know it's a one-word answer, but penalty. It really depends on Tierney. If Tierney's playing, I'll go 2-0.
He should be back.
If Tierney's playing, which I bet he will be, I'd say 2-0. If he isn't, for some whatever reason, I'm saying 0-0
should be
again.
Back as well.
Yeah, I'll go 2-0 with Tierney back, 0-0 if he isn't.
Awesome. So, Ray, where can they follow you? Where can they get you?
At Ray_Croatia on Twitter. I'm also part of the FPL Wildcats, so just at FPL Wildcats, and I'm always on Twitter chatting nonsense, as Glenn knows.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on. Your debut on the player ratings, guess what I'd say? You tried. HJ, where can they follow you?
YouTube HJ90, Twitter HJ90YT, both YouTube and Twitter.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I'll be on his channel on Tuesday, so check that out. Thank you for coming in, bro. And then WSL, where can they get you?
WSLFC on YouTube and on Twitter at FC_WSL.
Thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it, man. So 0-0 draw against Crystal Palace, not what we were looking for too. We wanted a win to make it 4 wins out of 4, but we didn't get it. But I'll not complain. A clean sheet, let's hope we pick it up because the next games are not that easy. Newcastle, Southampton, United, Villa, Wolves, we need to get a win soon. So thank you everyone who came in the chat. Thank you for watching. Keep staying safe. I'll be back tomorrow with another podcast at 7 p.m. UK time. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys later.